the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing on the consent agenda, April, approval of February 16, 2021 minutes, February 2021 accounts payable, utility funds in the amount of $95.24, approval of payment to BT and Company for interim billing for the audit and financial statement for the year end 12/31/2020 in the amount of $9,650. Approval payment to Olson's for professional service through 2/06/2021 sanitary sewer peak flow management program and pump station analysis in the amount of $5,483.15. Approval payment to Francis Plumman Charity Trust for a reimbursement of insurance premium for the amount of $10,053. Approval payment for Kansas State Treasurer and interest payment on Series 2011 bonds in the amount of $3,468.75 and interest payment of Series B 2012 bond in the amount of $72,145. I'd entertain a motion to approve consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
Motion been made and second. We approve the consent agenda. Any other comments from other commissioners? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Regular agenda, none. Public comments, Chris Kroll. Are you there, Chris?
He's on Zoom. We might have to unmute him. I think that's. No,
No, it's up there.
He's
was sent
on
the
there.
Zoom link. I think it's that owner's iPhone.
It's
No, it's Chris
right
Cole.
here.
Oh, I see. Are the speakers on?
Hear me?
Yeah.
Chris,
Can you hear me?
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
He's on the Zoom. He's on, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Chris, you with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
There.
Chris?
We can see him.
Can you hear me?
Can't hear him.
I can see you, but I can't hear you.
I'm not sure what the problem is. This would be so much easier in person if mandates were lifted.
There's something wrong with the connection here.
Only check. Who else? Just to test it.
Dave.
Can you hear me, Chris?
I can.
Talking, but
He said, yeah, I can, but you can't.
You can't hear him.
try
So if you're gonna sign that, would
try Dave Wilson. Dave, unmute Dave. Dave,
you give him?
Can you, say something just to test our speakers on this end? He's still muted.
I asked.
There,
Can you hear me now?
he's unmuted.
I'm unmuted.
Everything is on and going. Oops, sorry, before you go. We're recording.
Can you hear me?
Oh, she can hear him through YouTube. It's always on. Speakers 100%.
You might just tell them it'd be easier to hear me if they let me in.
Almost.
Select your audio. Select to these speakers. Start your computer.
They're trying to get me on
Okay,
Zoom and get me, so it's, free
What do I
speech.
do?
Go over to where it says mute.
Yeah. Good luck.
USB. Chris, try
Yeah.
it.
Can you hear me? I know. I'm off of mute. Tell them how about I tell you what to say and you just take it to them and then you say it and then
Yeah, but it's not.
be our intermediary. What?
It's gonna waste a lot of your time on there.
Yeah, I know.
Back and forth.
Just tell them, let me in and we'll work right around all this nonsense.
This time it's not about the ordinance.
There we go.
It's about their policy because the ordinance isn't good enough to stand on. It's the policy now. The goal,
Told what to say.
I know the goalpost keeps moving, and
Hey,
it's
Chris.
nothing against you.
Chris, you with me?
You hear me?
You're on the floor. You, we lose you again?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I don't know if this would be easier if you guys could go ahead and quit moving the goalposts and either stick with a policy or a mandate or whatever. Open a window. I can yell. I'm pretty loud. This is just a perfect example of the silliness that we've reduced city government and our citizenry to. You know where I stand on this. You know it's ludicrous, and the science that you claim so dearly to believe in is easily debunked, leading to lost revenues, whether it be in the schools or the businesses here in town. Nobody wants this. We've spoke repeatedly. We've stood up. We'll continue to stand up. It's up to you guys now. Otherwise, we will have people to replace you come the next election cycle. That's not a threat. That's a promise. I appreciate you all for letting me come in tonight, even though I have to sit outside of the building to do so. You guys have a great night, and I'll listen to the rest of it from out here.
All right, thank you, Chris. We appreciate your comments. Next on the agenda, Jay Brock.
Okay, if I remove my mask.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mayor and Commissioners, thank you so much for allowing me time to speak this evening. My name, like Bill said, Mayor said, my name is Jay Brock, one of the owners of Chapel Oaks Funeral Home here in Hiawatha. I'd like to visit about two things that are very near and dear to me. First being the mask mandate. Second, respect for veterans. I too wear the mask, I social distance, and use the hand sanitizer. I've used hand sanitizer so much I found my third grade cheat sheet notes. Speaking for myself, I can't hear when folks, when they're wearing their mask. I have trouble understanding because, like many of us, they speak in muffled voices, and I didn't realize how much I read people's lips. All this being said, the mandate in place is working. COVID deaths have been dramatically reduced. I'm sure if we visited with the healthcare officials in Brown County, they would tell us that their numbers are down as well. Down dramatically, but not gone. Again, it's proof that it's working. I have a vested interest in Hiawatha. I grew up here, went to school here, came back here to raise my family, and had the opportunity to be a part of the funeral home. Please know that it's my job to keep my community safe. This is what I went to mortuary school for. These are the things that I learned. That if anything like this would happen, I've been trained to deal with this. These guidelines in place by the city allows me not only as a business owner, but also from the funeral home operator, a guideline for me to abide by. This mandate is not being unreasonable. Some of these things we probably should have been doing back in the cold and flu seasons in years past. I have, as have you, watched those that we know or have known get sick and die from COVID. Some, like myself included, up until September 1st, I didn't believe it. I lived in denial. And then it became real and it hit home real quick. A longtime coworker and dear friend of ours suffered several weeks in the hospital and ended up succumbing to COVID. You have to understand this is very personal to me. Many of these people we are burying are my friends. They're my friends' family, and as time would prove, my relatives. In the months of December and January, we were experiencing as many as 2 to 3 COVID deaths at once, and sometimes in consecutive days. It became real to Bev and I when COVID claimed her mother December 1st. In summary, what we're doing is working. Why would, with what we're being so close to having COVID behind us, why would we not want to continue mask and social distancing? If we could go at least another month, we would allow people to get vaccinated and get the vaccine to be working and established in their system. We have no control of what other towns or counties are doing. That being said, we need to take care of our community. The second thing that I touched on briefly about the veterans, I would like the city's help to maybe drill some holes in the concrete walk out front of the funeral home, not to impede traffic, not to impede the stop sign, but to allow flags, like an avenue, a flag of sorts. So when we have a visitation for a veteran or a funeral for a veteran, it would be very evident that that was the case. I talked to Troy Boswell with the Kiwanis, and they're willing to help supply the flags, or I would purchase materials from them and work out the details. So these are things, my dad was in World War II Navy, and only as I've gotten older do I understand the meaning of what the flag means to each and every one of us. And so that being said, I thank you so much for the sacrifices you all make for trying to keep our community safe and doing the things that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Jay, I guess on the putting the drilling the holes, I guess I don't really see any problem with it. So if we could address it as the veterans up there, and if there's no place where it's going to be a stumbling block deal.
Talk about kind of out in the brick towards the edge of the curb a little bit, or
I'm open to whatever. I have a feeling maybe, I don't know how hard the surface that brick is.
yeah,
So I'm wondering if maybe it's not in the brick under this side of the brick around.
yeah,
And for however, if you just in front of the funeral home, every 4 to 6 feet, it could be 4 to 6 feet. I don't know, whatever you guys do, whatever you all are okay with.
I'll grab Ned.
Yeah, why don't you grab and go down and look at it and bring it back to us the next meeting.
Okay.
And I think it's a fine idea, Jay. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do for the community. So, okay. Nancy Dvorky? Dvork. All right.
Okay, I've heard worse. It's okay.
Well, I knew I was going to mispronounce it, so.
That's all right. That's all right. So, good evening. Thank you so much for letting me come and talk and speak. I was here 2 weeks ago. My daughter actually spoke, and my husband as well. And something that came up is there's just so much information out there. What do we believe? So I think it's really important that Jason and I, as he said, we were in Europe when when Trump shut the country down. And so as a personal experience being over there, I wanted to share with you guys. I have been to Europe, and I've also been to Mexico since COVID. And so I'd just like to share what I saw overseas compared to what's happening here. Before we left for Europe, of course, on the news, we saw Europe is shut down, Europe is dying. People were wondering, why are you even going there? Why aren't you, scared. Why would you even do that? And I thought, I have this opportunity. I'm going to go do it. And I'm so glad I did, because when we got over there, there was nothing happening that we were seeing on the news here in the United States. There was absolutely nothing. It's not like I was in northern Europe, like Norway or Denmark or something like that. No, I was in southern France. I was just a few hours from Italy that was dying like flies, apparently. I'm not saying that this is fake. Please do not take that as, I have a 94-year-old grandmother I'm very worried about. I've seen her lose her loved ones. But as she says, when we said, Grandma, are we going to have Thanksgiving or not? Because she still makes Thanksgiving and Christmas and Sunday dinners. She said, I'm not guaranteed another one. We're having Thanksgiving dinner. We did. We had a great dinner, and 2 people had COVID on Saturday. Grandma's still fine. I can't say why this happens to some people and why it doesn't. But what I'm saying is the U.S. has been taken over by fear. And I see that because of my travels outside of the country. We're not being told the truth. So we were in southern France. Actually, a year ago today, we were in Toulouse. Toulouse is in southern France. It's about 378 miles from Italy. Jason worked the whole week, about an hour away from our hotel. Took the subways, walked, a lot of walking out there. And the other wives and I, we did everything tourists do. There were no restrictions, nothing. No masks. All the shops were open. You could go, bars, shops, chocolate. Chocolate's great, by the way. French chocolate, fantastic. We did everything a tourist could do. And I remember this because a lot of people over there speak English. I mean, many, many, many people speak English. It's very easy to do or to talk with people over there. I said, how come when I come over here, I'm not seeing what's going on in the news? And I remember his words, or the people that I would talk to, they said, because our news media is corrupt and you cannot believe anything they're saying. And I said, my reply was, well, I'm beginning to think that about mine because, we're from America. I don't know anything except what I see on the news, and there's nothing going on here. And they're like, you're exactly right. So we end up going closer and closer to Italy. We ended up in Montpellier for a couple of days, had a great time there. That was much closer to Italy. When we went to work, or when Jason went to work, I went with him that day, and they had a little protocol for work. They said, we're no longer kissing on the cheek because that's their custom. They double kiss on the cheek, and we're not shaking hands anymore. But other than that, it was work as usual, party as usual at night, go to the bars, go whatever, go drink, have fun time. So then we went down to Marseille, which is about, 250 miles from Italy. All the buses were going, trains were going, everything was fine. I could have literally went into Italy. We almost flew into Venice. We were trying to decide where to go. There's so many things to do in Europe. Where do you go? We almost flew into Italy, and I thought, no, we really need to go to Prague. My husband is Czech. Dvorak is a Czech name. He's Czech. So we went up there to see ancestral places. We get to Prague. Guess what's happening in Prague? Nothing. They're drinking beer because that's what they do in Prague. I was a little out of sorts up there because I don't like beer. But anyway, that's their thing. They're up there, it was fine. There were a few places that were closed, some old castles, some old buildings that were closed because of COVID. We went to see the famous Dvorak composer's home. That just so happened to be closed. So we weren't able to go there. But we did go many places, and we had a great time. And then, like Jason said last time, the CDC brought us home, and Trump shut everything down, and then Europe shut down after Trump shut down. They were open until Trump said we're closing. And then the Saturday, he said that on Thursday, then Saturday, the train stopped, and then Monday our hotel was going to stop. So if we would have gotten stuck in Europe, we would have been stuck. Okay. We got back to London. We were perfectly fine until the CDC got us into Chicago. We were there for hours upon hours on end. Okay. And not anyone would handle an infectious virus. We were in there like a ball of cattle, multiples, thousands of people. Then over Mexico, we went to Christmas. And I was told, don't go to Mexico. It is the #1 hotspot. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's bad. Everybody's dying there. The borders are closed. We called our missions leader. We went on a mission trip this time. We called a missions leader. We said, okay, what's going on? Are we going? Are we not? And he said, the borders are open. I have talked to them myself. He literally, he's been doing this for 30 years, these missions. Okay. We go and build houses. He said they're open, and they told me personally, bring as many Americans as you can. So we went, built a house, had a great time, fantastic time. And you know, the reason why I'm against the mask mandate, I will explain, is because there's so much out there saying that wearing masks constantly are hurting people's health. We went on this trip, and the only man who got COVID while we were down there was the one who wore his mask every single time. That's the only one of us. There were over 100 of us there. When I wear a mask, I come down with a massive migraine and I can no longer function. So if you want to know any more, I'd be happy to tell you. We had great trips. And if I wouldn't have gone, I would never have known what's going on. That's why I came here tonight, to tell you guys that everything's great. And last time you were talking about you would take the mask mandate away if 75% of the population is vaccinated. The problem with that is the vaccination is so new, and there's so much, like you said, information out there. Who knows what's right? Who knows what's wrong? Well, I have heard, not that it is right, but I have heard that there are problems with, from a certain doctor, that the vaccination has a problem with placentas. There's something that happens with the placenta, okay? This is what I've heard from a woman who was actually fired from a hospital. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But I do know I have 4 beautiful children, or daughters. I have 5 children, actually. I have 4 daughters. When you take the vaccine, you still can give it to people and you can still get it. So why am I going to put my children at risk and my future grandchildren at risk if this is true? Why am I going to do that for something where you can still get the virus and you can still give the virus? I don't see the point to that. So anyway, I really appreciate you listening to me. I just had these few thoughts, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Nancy. We appreciate you coming. Next on the agenda, I guess, sports complex. Who wants to be the speaker? Yeah, Noel or Ryan or
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm Ryan Meininger. No boys here. Kurt Weldon's here as well. First of all, thanks for everything you guys are doing. That goes without saying. I'm going to try to switch gears on you a little bit from the tough decisions you guys have been making, and maybe put another one in your lap. But we're pretty excited. So we formed. I set this stuff up just so I don't take a lot of your time tonight. We emailed you out kind of a bullet point, a layout of where we're at, what we're thinking, what we're after. So we formed this group. Some guys got together. It started as a second batting cage, but anyway, grew into something bigger, something that we truly believe that this community needs. It started as a building, indoor practice facility. We need repairs in Noble Park, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware of. It led into there's a need for a softball field as well. We think we found the perfect place to have it down there at Noble Park. Again, not to sound redundant, we think it's a massive need for our community, especially for our youth. We have so many travel teams. We have so many kids that need an indoor, facility. I mean, the school lacks an indoor facility. This thing, and don't just think baseball and softball. That's how it started. But it has so many uses. I mean, not to single, Becky could have yoga classes in there, stuff like that for cross country. We could have anybody from indoor. Stacy could have her indoor cornhole. We could have indoor soccer if the weather's bad, indoor basketball if the weather's bad, flag football if the weather's bad. So it could benefit, Parks and Rec as well. So again, you're reading everything that you're seeing. We've got Mammoth. We've teamed up with Mammoth, who is a very respected company out there. That they'll do a short presentation. They partner with us to help us design it, show us what's possible, what's not possible. They've got a long, great track record. And also they'll help with fundraising. They'll help with so many different ideas. And we're excited to partner with them. That's kind of where we're at. And then I'll have Mammoth present. Jeremy should be
the
on
two
there.
of them.
Yeah, Jeremy and David.
Okay.
You guys are muted. I don't know if they can hear me.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. First and foremost, thank you so much. Grateful for the opportunity to be with you tonight. Mammoth Sports Construction is a family-owned, Kansas-owned sports construction company based out of Meriden, Kansas. And we are a full service turnkey partner is what we're trying to do with all the different communities that we're able to go in and service and create real generational or transformational change is what we really pride ourselves in our work in. So that's kind of the short end of it. I do have with me this evening David DeVore, who's also on our team, and I'll let him give a quick synopsis before he gets into the presentation. David.
Thanks, Jeremy. I want to make sure everyone can hear me as well.
We can hear you.
Perfect. My name is David DeVore. I am the Vice President of Design for Mammoth Sports Construction. As Jeremy said, we're a full service design and construction company that focuses primarily on sports and sports related design items. So we've had the opportunity to meet with the group to discuss possible opportunities for creating facilities that will be usable both during the good weather months as well as through the cold spots we seem to be having, especially over the last few weeks. So what we have started to put together is a master plan that shows some improvements at Noble Park, including improvements to the existing baseball stadium, a new softball field, and then also, as indicated, a indoor facility that can be utilized for multiple different functions throughout the year. I don't know if I have access to share my screen. I'm going to double check that. Is that something that can be provided simply to walk through the presentation?
We have copies. Yeah. They've got hard copies.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll just talk about what's on the individual sheets themselves. So on the front copy is a very conceptual site plan indicating potential improvements that could happen to the complex. What our anticipation is to develop these improvements in a phased approach with the intent of the indoor facility located between the fields to be the first piece that would be developed as a part of this complex. The second most pressing need would be the softball field and associated dugouts, lighting, and bleachers. And then finally, the improvements to the baseball field. So with that, we are developing, and if you look at the second page, you can see a kind of a site rendering indicating the scale of the indoor building, as well as how the new softball field and the baseball improvements would lay out. At this point in time, this is a very conceptual schematic. The intent is to try to conceptualize what is possible on the site, and then also to put together some ideas of that we can then take to both public and private individuals to potentially begin raising money to fund this. As you can see, and just continuing through the various pages, we've put together very conceptual, very early floor plans indicating what amounts to approximately a 9,000 square foot larger building that, as noted, could be utilized for baseball on when the weather's not good. It could be used for football. It could be used for multiple different sports, from soccer, both on club sports to Parks and Rec, to, as indicated, a cornhole tournament. I mean, there are multiple different opportunities that this facility can provide, and multiple different ways that it could be a benefit to the community. Just then continuing through the presentation itself, we've got a couple renderings just showing what the exterior of the building might look like. Again, this is just simply massing, not really touching on what the building itself will look like, other than just the overall scale and how we may be able to create some areas for office spaces and restrooms, storage, as well as then the larger open volume. And then finally, the last couple pages just show a couple of quick renderings of what those volumes might look like and the type of space and kind of the idea of what we would like to do within that. Part of what Mammoth does and what we have really built our reputation on is field design, field installation, being the premier turf designer and installer within the region. And so, like Jeremy indicated, we are a family-owned company out of Meriden, Kansas. We're local and are very proud to be able to work with different local communities that we are close to. We do a lot of work within the region and nationally, but where we really like to make good connections is with the communities that are close to us, to the communities that we bring our families to and enjoy as well. So with that, I'll go ahead and go ahead and kick that back to the group to make any kind of final kind of closing statements or closing remarks.
All right, so like Ryan and Mammoth said, I mean, we've done our research, talked to Mammoth. We believe they're the best route to go. They have really good ideas. They've done this before. They've worked with other communities in Northeast Kansas to accomplish the same thing that we would like to accomplish. So we believe we're partnering up with them, City of Hiawatha, USD 415, using the new community foundation as a conduit for the funds to run through for donations is a great way to accomplish what we would like, and using every avenue we possibly can to ease the burden off everybody else. So I guess what we're here today is asking the city for a 50-year lease for the land for the building to be built on, constructed on. That building is approximately 72 by 105. It depends on who ends up building and how their structure works as far as the size, but that's roughly the size of what we're after. We'd also like for you guys to waive the sewer and water fees for the building. I personally believe it'd be real easy just to tie into the concession stand and restrooms there at Noble already. Sewer lines there, water lines there, and use your equipment and guys just to do that. It shouldn't be something that's real hard to do. It'll take a lot of time, and it can be done, on a down week or whatever after this building's constructed. We also would like for you to be able to let us tie into your existing electrical system at the concession stand with the LED lights, high efficiency furnaces and all that. The bill shouldn't be more than, we're thinking, $100 a month. All the equipment's already there. We just need to tie into the breaker box in the concession stand. And then lastly, if you give us a couple years to get this up and going, I think you'll see how much the city uses it, how much the youth use it in our community. And so starting in 2025, if we could get $10,000 a year towards these phases, towards upkeep, towards future projects over there in that area, I think it'd be a good thing for everybody involved. I think Ryan talked about baseball and softball. We have roughly 280 kids that play summer league baseball and softball in our community. There's also probably 25 to 30 that play elsewhere. So, I mean, you're talking 300 kids that would get a lot of use out of this every year. Plus the other factors as far as walking, flag football, basketball, mentioned cornhole, could be after prom. I mean, the options are endless of what this could be used for. It's right there on the edge of town. Everyone would see it coming into town. I think it'd be a great asset for our community, help growth, help bring in people. And so I think, you have anything else? Yeah.
I guess when you think you're going to get this thing up and running?
So our goal, we really believe that we can have the building up and going if we can start construction fall of 2021, winter 2021, summer like that, and have it up and going, ready to use for early spring. So this time next year, we could walk in and use that building for practices. I mean, I think there's phases on what we gave you. So that's phase one. Phase two would be the softball field, the full turf softball field. And then phase three would be the softball infield, and for the baseball, for the Noble is currently, and then redo the outfield to level it out and make it more playable, safer to play on. Perfect world, all this gets done in a couple of years. I mean, it's not cheap by any means.
But you already have the fundings available then?
We didn't know. So our first goal is the long-term lease of the land. So then we can start fundraising, talk to USD 415 about their involvement and kind of go from there. But that was our first, we need the land for the building so we don't keep going in circles trying to figure out how to start all this.
So you haven't talked to 415 yet?
No, that's on. I think we're on their agenda for next month.
This for March or for April?
April, I believe.
Okay.
Yep.
How much money are you looking at for phase one?
Phase one, we've got bids from 3 different companies in the area about the building. I think we are able to walk in and use that building as an indoor facility for baseball and softball at $300,000. Obviously the softball field is substantially more and the baseball field is more also. But I think we get that building up and going, have a good partnership between city and us and USD 415. I think people will start to believe in those next phases as well.
You plan on air conditioning the building?
We will heat it. I don't think we need to have a true air conditioning system. We need to have some sort of ventilation, just fans kind of pulling that stale hot air out of there in the summer. But I think a dehumidifier and some fans will take care of what we need to in the summertime.
Any ideas on what you're gonna do for fundraising?
We'll use the foundation for fundraising. We've talked to Vern that helped Sabetha raise some funds for similar projects. He's out of the Greater Manhattan Foundation office, and he has some good ideas. It's just going to be talking to a lot of community members and businesses and go just like everybody else does. So
it looks amazing. I mean, what a great thing to come into town to see that.
Yeah.
And the potential of what could be done in a building that size with indoor soccer and
sure,
all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
There's a lot of partnership that go into that.
Right.
So there's a lot of planning that
right.
would need to go to have things set. But I just appreciate that somebody's making the push.
Yeah. Yeah. And about that, like, I just want you to know, we've been meeting for a year. We started this a year ago, so it's not something we started a couple months ago. Many communities around here have indoor practice facilities or better facilities. Heck, even to the south of us, we got grant money, for facilities. Hiawatha has indoor. Well, I think Highland has a fitness center. There's a lot of people in the area that would use this, including ours, and bring revenue to our town. And we've talked to many people. A lot of these projects go off in these small towns with that partnership that Noel's mentioned a couple times with the school district, the city, and the community. And then I think the foundation is a big X factor in this, a way to funnel money through. They have a tax deductible that can help us and guide us as well. The community, we've already started talking to the community. There's some excitement. So we're just hoping to have some help from the city. Just show buy-in. I think if we show buy-in from the city, that the community, that's going to help our fundraising efforts and help us push forward. We're not asking for a lot of money. We're just asking for a little bit, get behind us, be with us, beside us through this whole deal, and help us move toward this goal. So.
Now, are you hoping for money from the schools as well?
Yes.
Okay, that'll be interesting.
This is all going to be interesting. I'm pretty excited about it.
Like I said, you got to start somewhere. Man,
right.
So.
Right. Yeah. We're not scared of it.
I guess what I'd like to see all these numbers on a piece of paper, what everybody, where everybody's at on the proposal. And then that way, give us some time. I guess it's fresh for me tonight.
Sure. And we're not asking for an answer tonight by any means.
Okay.
We're just, wanted to give
if you can put some hard numbers together,
so.
what you expect from the city
Mhm.
and the school district and stuff like that,
Yep.
so we can actually evaluate
Sure.
exactly where we're,
Yeah.
we're focusing on.
Yeah.
And you guys too.
Okay.
so.
And it's hard. I mean, we've done some research about, I mean, how much we think sewer and water, that offset would be and how electrical. I mean, we've looked at similar buildings. It's just hard. There's nothing like that. And so, I mean,
So
I
the-
think it's a great
it's
idea.
a best
fellas.
guess,
I mean,
you know, as far like my shop, for instance, what that sewer and water bill is and electric bill is, it'd be similar. I think we've estimated high, it should be lower, but I mean, just to be on the safe side, I don't.
So just to, I mean, what I wrote down, you said a 50-year lease,
Mhm.
waive the sewer and water fees, tie into our existing electrical, and then starting at 2025, $10,000 a year donated to help with the upkeep and all
Correct.
that stuff. I mean, so that's the
Future
initial
phases,
kind of,
yeah.
this is what we're thinking.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was
Yeah.
on the same page. And the first thing is the building. Second thing is the women's
Softball field.
softball.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I'm also knowing that we need to put money out at Bruning
Right,
too, you know, that
right.
concession stand is continued.
So our thought is there's only one true softball field in our town.
Mhm.
That would give us two as far, I mean, there's Noble and then two baseball fields out at Bruning. And so it kind of equal, help Stacy as far as scheduling games, practices, all that.
And have you talked to Stacy at all?
We have some, yeah.
She pretty excited?
Of course,
Or-
she's excited about everything.
That's true.
Progress, so,
Yeah, good
yeah.
point. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, we love to walk in here and say, hey, we have X amount of dollars, will you let us build it? No, we need everyone's help to get to where we need to go.
So At least we're starting, you know.
So the baseball club would own this building and insure it for any activities that they're
Right,
conducting
it'd
there?
be, yeah. So
Okay.
we would have a board of this group that would cover, find the insurance and take care of scheduling practices and however that would go. So really no burden to Stacy or anybody else. We'd handle
Okay.
all that.
And then the softball field would be handled the same as Noble. The city would own the softball field
Correct,
like
yeah.
like they own Noble.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
you all would schedule the
Right.
games and practices
Right.
on that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, and Stacy would have to be in that conversation, just that she
Yeah.
schedules all the practices currently. And I mean, I think this is something that in the future, we can have a discussion between us and the city and USD 415 and figure out whose best interest it is to be fully in charge of this once all three phases are done.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not trying to make money off of it or anything like that. I mean, I think it would be, I mean, in a perfect world, we all work together and we can figure out how this works best for everybody involved.
Well, when
once
you get
everything's
into,
done, so.
when we get into funding, then we need to work it into our budgets.
Sure.
And our budget's set for 21.
Mhm.
And so if, I guess this is something for the commissioners to be thinking about, because we gotta have these numbers and we gotta put them together. And
Right,
if you guys can submit some kind of a financial
absolutely.
address it, so we can actually look at
Yep.
exactly where you're at and where we're gonna focus on.
Sure.
I'd appreciate it.
Is that okay to email you, everybody, and do it that way, or does that work? Do we need to come back to the next meeting and do that? Or
I'd just like, you could actually put something together for us and get it to City Hall and Mike will distribute it.
Yep, we can do that.
And, sounds good.
Is the softball board on, have you talked with them? Are they involved in this at all?
I'm president of the softball board.
Oh, you're
so-
softball. Oh, you're baseball.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
know
we're
that. I
covered.
just saw you on baseball. Oh, I see Kurt over there. I thought you're all a big baseball family.
Well, on that, on our
That's safer
board,
that way.
on
Yeah.
our board, we're gonna have a high school softball coach would sit on the board, high school baseball coach would sit on the board, a member or president from the softball board. and
Yeah, 'cause
from
he's on the
youth
softball
baseball. So
board.
we'll have all that, so that way we have a good collective board, so we get, all the kids taken care of. So
Because those two haven't always played nicely together. I mean, the
We're
baseball
getting
and
better.
softball.
We're
so.
getting better at it.
And the group you've talked about for the last year is much bigger than you three.
Yes.
I mean, it's,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
We've
I mean,
had
they're-
consistently 6 to 10 guys at every meet. We've been meeting, feels like every 2 weeks for the last year. So there's been a lot of thought, a lot of time put into this deal. So, and we do the same moving forward.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys coming tonight and if you could get some numbers
Yep,
together.
we'll
for
give
us,
you
we'd
some
appreciate
more
it.
information and give it to Mike and then he can forward
All right.
along. Just
He'll get it to us.
keep us in mind, and if we need to come back to the next meeting to more discussion or whatever, we can sure do that. Just let us know.
I got one other question. You may not be this far, I'm sure you're not this far along, but I went out there and walked around in that area where the softball would go. Do you anticipate having to bring in a lot of field to level that playing field?
Originally,
the outfield?
I mean, that was our discussion with Mammoth, is we would have to bring in field to bring it up.
Yeah.
In our travels, as far as with softball, there's a Veta Sports Complex in Topeka. One of their fields, or a couple of their fields, are actually sunk down. And so I think we could shave back into that hill, and the bleachers would actually be above the playing surface. I mean, 6 to 10 feet, something like that. That way we don't have to
You're not
bring
that far
in
along. I was just curious.
truckload after truckload of fill to bring that up. We
Yeah.
can kind of work with what we have. And still, I think, be above that creek back there and the
Yeah.
drainage ditch off to the south. So,
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good. Appreciate
All right.
you coming.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep.
That's exciting. I like that.
Next on the agenda, Richard Schilling.
And then a workout facility. Build it and then we'll go.
Maybe a amphitheater.
Huh?
Amphitheater.
Yeah, that'd be cool with live music.
I was here again tonight to talk to you about the mask mandate.
Richard, can you pull your mic up a little bit, please?
This one.
Yeah.
I guess the other one isn't the mic.
Thank you.
Wouldn't do me much good to pull that one up.
There we go.
I was gonna say, I was here again tonight to talk about the mask mandate, and so you guys don't get it wrong. We think you guys ought to highly recommend the mask, no matter what. With that being said, Falls City and Richardson County never did have a mask mandate. They had a recommendation for masks. In 2019, they had right at 8,000 people. Brown County had 9,600. As of February 17th, Brown County had 1,200 cases of COVID. Richardson County had 600. We went up there and went grocery shopping, just out of curiosity. My wife went in, I sat out there in the car. Almost every single person wore a mask into that grocery store.
Yeah, I was up there over the weekend and looked at it and checked the facilities, both of them, both stores. And they're all pretty well masked up in Falls City. And,
You'll see a few,
yeah,
you know.
well, there's some stragglers, but you'll see that everywhere. So.
And then we had the opportunity to go up and get Cindy's sister a car up in Council Bluffs over the weekend. And we stopped along the way, and if you talk to the convenience store, somebody said, do you guys have mask mandates? They said, no, it's recommended. We do have the sign. We posted a sign out there. The same, people was masking up pretty much. There was a few people, they'd start to go in, they'd read the sign, or they'd see somebody else like us. We'd put the mask on. They turn around, go back to their car and get their mask. I'm just saying we're adults. And so we're just asking that the mandate, but it'd be silly not to highly recommend it. COVID is a serious disease, virus, whatever we want to call it. And, but when you look around, Richardson County never had it. Donovan County now has lifted it. Nemaha County, Jackson County, the city of Sabetha, Horton, and Falls City. I did go, we're having prayer breakfast. We resumed prayer breakfast down in Horton last week. And it was, again, when you eat, what do you do? So she said, you don't have to wear it in. She would appreciate it if we did. And then we sat at the table, since we're in a group and eating, it's kind of hard to wear a mask while you're eating. So with that being said, the COVID cases are down. It looked like there are less than 10 cases now in Brown County. And if you actually would listen to, take time to listen to the South Dakota governor, Christie, I'm going to mispronounce her last name, it should be easy to know him. She talked over the weekend about how they didn't have any mask mandates, closing businesses or anything. And I will tell you guys, I really appreciate that you guys didn't lock businesses or churches or anything down. I mean, that I appreciate beyond any words. And so with that, there was Randy Mayberry, and he quoted one time or said it. It says, there's a new religion in the world, and that God of the new religion is government. The worshipers are convinced that their God can solve almost any problem, if only they can pass the right legislation. And so all we're doing is just asking for the mandate to be lifted, highly recommend it, and let people make their own decisions about to wear them or not, is all we're asking. Because like I said, we need to wear masks.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. I guess next thing on the agenda, I guess we'll just go ahead with commissioners and open up the discussion on masks and opening City Hall. So if anybody got any comments?
I guess I'll go first. I'm still going to say that I have had just as many people I haven't heard from in quite a while. I mean, I'm used to hearing from my friends who say, keep the mask mandate in, because obviously you surround yourself with people that you have like interest. I've had people reach out to me that I haven't heard from in quite some time, and they still say, we appreciate the mask mandate. It makes things easier. As far as decisions to go, my health people still say, wait on it. We're getting closer. I'm still going to stay with that. I don't believe anybody's rights are being violated. You can still go to Walmart. You can go to any business in this town. You can go to a restaurant and you sit down and eat and take your mask off. So I still firmly believe in the mask mandate, and that's where I stand based on, I don't know, that's just what I feel.
Evan.
I agree with Becky. We're getting so close on this that, you don't have to wear the mask 24 hours a day. You drive to Walmart, you get out of your vehicle, put your mask on, go in Walmart, do your shopping, come back out, take the mask right back off. So, I mean, and it's just the way it's with everything here in town. So, I have a lot of people come up and thank me for it. They know we have a tough decision on it, but they still highly recommend that we're not out of this yet. We're getting closer, and a lot of people still feel that we should wear the mask.
Dave.
Yeah, I probably agree with what's been said. I've had several people call and thank the commission for staying with the mask mandate. I think it does help with minimizing the spread, or helping minimize the spread to other people. Takes the load off the hospital with our healthcare workers. Where the vaccines are being administered pretty readily now, and I think if we wait a little bit longer and get more people vaccinated, then I'll feel more comfortable with being ready to relax the mandate.
Okay. Commissioner Shepherd.
Well, I think we all know where I stand on this. It's hard for me to imagine that we're the last county that's still talking about this. And we're still talking about looking at it for another month when everybody around us is done with it. I think if you guys look around here in town, less and less are wearing the mask every day. And I honestly think it's because of this mandate. Like you said, you went to Fall City and you've seen everybody wearing a mask.
Well, not all of them, but the majority of them in stores, Fall City.
Oh.
So they're following guidelines. They don't have an ordinance or anything, but
which they're choosing to do it on their own, which I think with this ordinance and the stuff that's been going on, I think people are actually taking the mask off, and I'm a firm believer of that. I'm out all day long. I don't go somewhere and work. I'm out in the community for the last 2 weeks, and I can tell a difference even the last 2 weeks that people are taking the mask off. I honestly feel like they're done with it. And yes, I get a lot of people contacting me too, saying, keep doing the good work. I think we all have people that are contacting us all the time, both ways. I just think we need to really be looking at all the other cities around us and counties have lifted this. It's time for us to really start thinking about that. And we even need to look at some of these places have not had a mandate at all, and their numbers are the same as ours, maybe some of them even better. And that's the honest to God truth. That is the numbers that anybody can look up. That's nothing I'm making up. That is put out from the state. There's no reason for this. And I'll just leave it at that.
I did check. 86% of the state still has a mask mandate. That was, I checked last week, and I was trying to find the link again. I mean, it was from a reputable site, not one of them. I mean, 86% of the state is still with a mask mandate. And I hate throwing out stats like that because we can throw those things back and forth all day. And so I really try not to say a whole lot. And I don't subscribe to the everybody else is doing it type thing, as far as all these counties around us aren't. I don't know. I guess I feel like I need to trust our health people in this town. And I've already said too much. So there we go.
Okay, do what?
Can we do that? I don't know if we want to.
I don't know.
It's Jay.
Oh, Jay, come back up.
I mean, my only fear is if we do that, we're going to open up, everybody wants to come in. And so I don't know if that can be done. And Jay, it's nothing against you at all. Not at all. It's just, I don't know if that's what this is, a public forum where everybody just continues going back and forth. I guess that's a question for Andy or everybody else, because it's an emotional issue and we all have our opinions. And it'd be easy for me to say, absolutely, Jay, talk, because you have the same opinion I do, but then it wouldn't be fair to say, well, Richard, you can't, because that's not respectful. So yeah, so I don't know if Mike.
I think as far as the meeting, the mayor's going.
What's that?
Whether or not to.
Do we let other people speak or do we just cut it?
Any commissioner at any time on the floor, if somebody addresses the commissioner, they can recognize them individually if they want to.
Okay, well, I'm gonna step back. So that I'll put that on your shoulders, Mayor. That's why you earn the big bucks.
Well, I think we understand what everybody's comments and where they stand. So I guess now, Jay, have you got something?
I was going to say that the high peak period of COVID, the months that I explained earlier, we were wearing masks.
Yeah, they'll be accusing you of me here because they say I can't hear me anyway.
Just was going to say, during the high months that it was a nightmare having one death after another of COVID, and sometimes 2 or 3 at a time. Bev and I and Evans were the only ones that did not get COVID working at the funeral home. The rest of us did. And we feel by using the sprayer that's been provided to us, doing that faithfully and wearing masks, not doing family visitations at this point, by social distancing and hand sanitizer, I think it was a combination of all those things that helped keep us safe and help keep the community safe. But do I have a set answer for it? No, none of it makes any sense, not at all. So I thank you all for doing what you do, because it's not a win situation. So we have to do what we think is right, and what is right, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you. I guess the consensus of the commission, I guess, is it's bound. We're not interested in lifting the mask mandate yet.
I'm not.
Do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, well, I don't need to make a motion, but I'll openly say that I do think we're ready to lift it. But when I just leave it, however, the right way of doing it, whenever I just don't say anything, it gets missed with the commission, the whole commission. And I want that to be clear that I am putting it out there that I do believe that we should have this taken care of by now, but
Well, I'll give you my consensus, just a short version of it. I think if I could see the health department and the hospital get in more shots, take care of the older clientele of the city, and to get the ones that's most acceptable to the disease itself. I think the younger people can probably handle a lot of it, but I'd like to see more vaccines, and I'm gamed up to get rid of this mask ordinance as quick as we can. But I don't think we're ready yet. So
is Robin on or not? Is she
you'll be on in just a minute.
Okay.
Robin,
Yes, I'm on.
go ahead. Kind of give us your consensus of what on this mask mandate.
Yeah, I'm still for the mask mandate. As of a couple weeks ago, our numbers are still about the same. We did have an increase in numbers this last week. Our active cases right now is 11. We are slowly getting vaccine out, but I'm not comfortable right now with the limited amount of vaccine that we are getting, lifting that mask mandate. Hopefully we begin to get more. And like Mayor said, that 65 and up population, I feel like is the key population to get vaccinated before we do anything else. We are vaccinating weekly. We are on the 65 and up population. We still have like 400 to 500 more to go in that population. And then working on to the rest of the people, essential workers in phase 2. But as of now, no, I'm not comfortable lifting that mask mandate. I've had multiple people thank me as well for it. So I think it's the best in our community to keep that mask mandate in place.
Robin, I got another question. How soon do you get any indication of how quick we're going to get vaccinations coming in? Or you just get it day by day?
I usually, from week to week, I usually get notification on Monday on what vaccines we're going to get in that week. And then we usually get them Tuesday or Wednesday. And then we're usually having clinics on Fridays. So I usually only get a couple days notice before we can call and schedule.
Do you have a lot of people calling in to get on the list for vaccination?
It has slowed down quite a bit. We were getting hundreds of calls a day and surveys and emails, but it has slowed down. But right now we're just taking phase 2. So I think everybody that is in phase 2 that wants it is signed up, it seems like. And then we haven't really had many phase 3 inquiries yet, but we haven't publicly put out that we're taking those names.
Did you say there were 400 to 500 more on phase 2 that have not been vaccinated yet?
That's just the 65 and up in phase 2. We still have all of the essential workers that fall underneath phase 2, besides the teachers, firefighters, and law enforcement that we haven't vaccinated yet.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can I
Go ahead.
Robin, are you saying that there's firefighters and who did you say in that group that have not been vaccinated?
The 65 and up population, we have about 400 to 500 more that still need to be vaccinated. And then the other essential workers, there's daycare providers, grocery store workers, transportation workers, agriculture, those employees that fall underneath phase 2. The essential workers that we've vaccinated already in phase 2 have been the teachers, firefighters, and law enforcement.
Okay. So, and then to get the people that are 65 and up, is that just the people that have called in? Is that correct? Is that who everyone's getting vaccinated? Just people that have called in and wanted it?
Right, just the people that have called in or emailed or filled out that survey.
Okay.
Okay.
So 400 at the current rate, there'll be another 30 days before we could possibly get the 65 and older. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd say approximately a month. We just got notified that we're going to start getting the Johnson & Johnson vaccines this week. So that's some good news, and hopefully we'll get more vaccine coming from them. It's just if people will be interested in taking that. We've been getting the Moderna, and now that the Johnson & Johnson is approved, we will be getting 100 doses of that this week.
And that's correct.
Correct, yes.
Well, I guess the ones that can't take the second shot for Johnson & Johnson, if they already took the other. Is that right?
Correct. You'll have to get the second dose of the Moderna or the Pfizer.
Okay. Any other comments? Robin?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Robin. Appreciate you getting on board with us tonight.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Come on in. I'll give one other. I'll give him one, and not just a little.
So just wanted to bring a point of information about the 85% that have opted in. Found the website, actually 90 out of 105 counties have opted out. So 85% have opted out of a mask mandate, not opted in. So just a point of information, please.
Thank you. Okay, next thing, John.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Tonight, I was going to update you on the hospital, which we do every month. We look forward to this first Monday. As we've talked about quite a bit, the COVID vaccine has been a hot topic. And we have, according to Robin and the team that's working on that, we have quite a few staff from the hospital volunteering. I think we've done 900 first doses and 200 second doses. So we're working through those process, and appreciate all the staff that have been taking time to go to Fisher Center and do those vaccines. COVID volume has decreased, which we're pleased to see. While we still have to have staff to take care of the patients if they do come in. And I think one of the things that I do appreciate that people are wearing masks and understand the difficulty that it is. And I did visit with providers today, and they still concurred, as Commissioner Schamberg was saying, to wear the mask, and they know it's a tough decision, but it's we feel like it continues to be that right decision to do. And one of the things that was shared on Fox News recently is just the contrast between flu this year and flu last year. If you look at the number of cases that we've had so far this year, this flu season is like 1,500 cases. And if you look at what last year was, like just going to providers, 18 million. Now they did say 190 million got the flu vaccine, but it's just numbers out there and that graphic that you have on your report shows the number of cases going into the ER is dramatically less than what it was in all of the previous years. So
Could I ask you a quick question?
Absolutely.
Were you testing for the flu this year?
Absolutely, we do. The system that we have tests for COVID and flu together. So I saw in one report where a doctor says we're not testing for flu anymore. No, it's part of the same test. So it's not different. It's the same test. So that's what the KDHE is doing, and that's what we're doing. When we got to the flu season, and you can't not test for it. It's just there. So everybody's that's doing the type of work that we're doing, test for flu and as well as. And I think
there was no cases of the flu.
We've had maybe 1 or 2 cases, and so far here, which is.
And you were testing everyone?
Yes, everyone that's going through the BioFire is being tested in the States, also doing that test.
I mean, all year long though, even last year, during the November, December, were we testing for the flu then during the flu season?
Yes, if they presented with flu symptoms, we tested for flu, just like we're doing now. If you come in with flu symptoms, we're testing you for COVID and flu. So we're testing for both. So we're not doing anything different this year. Well, this year we're doing different because we've added COVID, but we're doing the same thing that we did last year. Same equipment, actually. It's just been upgraded to include COVID. We've also done some reorganization of our med surgical unit. One of the things that we've seen the decreased cases. So we kind of done some modifications and doing some restructuring to help us with care of those patients. I'm also grateful that we haven't had the COVID volume, because this week we had 20 patients in. And if we would have had more COVID patients in, we would have had to ship patients because we wouldn't be able to take care of the other patients here. So it's good to see that volume less. Again, we continue to staff for it. COVID screening has continued. Our cases are less, as we've talked about. Financially, the hospital we did see more revenue than what we saw in December. However, we were still about 7% behind last year. Supplies and staffing continue to be higher than last year as well. The Medicare recruitment, which was occurring in the last quarter, services to date last quarter, we're glad that finally ended, and hopefully the cash position will continue to improve. The operating margin, we are negative so far in January, about a 2% loss. We're still working through our governmental funds to get those, see if we can get them classified for year 2020 as well as 2021. Physician recruitment continues to be a hot topic for us. This month, we've actually had 3 residents come and visit us and do a tour of the community and meet with community members that are part of our community recruitment committee. That has gone very well. And the last 2 that were in town were very impressed with the flexibility that our community recruitment did on switching the whole day, that they hosted a brunch for the residents. So we're continuing to be active. One of the things that we'll be looking for is some donors maybe to consider sponsoring the Kansas Bridging Program, which is about $16,000. The HEFID did one resident for us, the resident that's coming in 2022. They have sponsored that resident, and there's 2 other residents that we're looking at bringing on also are interested in that Kansas Bridging Program. So we'll be looking for potential organizations to sponsor that bridging program as well. We did receive notification that our West Clinic, which was the CREP building, which has been our respiratory clinic, we did get that approved for being a rural health clinic on its own, which will help us when we get through all of this to have a walk-in clinic again. We're looking forward to that if we can get to that day. But they did the survey this week and we had 0 deficiencies. So we're very excited about the work that the staff has done. So we had the other information in there just from the summary of graphs, and obviously you've had a lot of mass discussion already, so I don't need to add anything to that, and just entertain to see if you have any questions.
Give us an update on your financials. I was kind of concerned on that. It's a little better. So.
Yeah, well, I think we did our year. We ended at a 50,000 positive margin, but we do anticipate some additional funds from our federal funds, the HHS funds, the care funds. We do anticipate a good portion to be recorded for 2020. So we're still working through that with our auditors. And then we should continue to recover some of that money this year too, in 2021, but we're going through that process. So we should have some more positive numbers.
Sounds good, John. You have any other questions?
The rural health clinic, doesn't that allow to capture some payments that or sometimes you might not get, or am I thinking of a different model?
Well, there's the federally qualified health clinic, which is different. The rural health clinic is just like what we have in the hospital and in Highland. We were able to operate the the clinic today because we're under that national health emergency.
Yeah.
But when that goes away, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing in that building. So we decided to make it a rural health clinic.
Okay. I was thinking of another.
The federally qualified. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Is the Horton Clinic up and going or what? Where
It is.
where are they at?
They do have providers there from Amberwell Health. They do have a mid-level setter scheduled there, and I believe it's open every day.
Okay. Anybody else got anything for John? Thank you, John.
Thank you
Appreciate
for your
coming in.
time and your support.
Next thing on the agenda, consider approval of charter ordinance C-1-21.
Oh, Aaron. Oh, the new. Aaron Verber.
No, I don't.
She ain't there yet.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, we better get her. Aaron, you on there?
Yep, I'm here. Good evening. I was asked just to come in for an update at the library. I don't have my full report. I was planning on sharing that at your next meeting, but I'm happy to step in and give a short little update. Our building is still closed to patrons, and currently that is due to an ongoing fight, I guess you can call it, between our construction company and our architect. HRS doesn't seem to want to get the ball rolling for several things that are left to do. I can give a more in-depth update about that for your next meeting for my report for then, but they just seem to be dragging their feet about getting in and completing some tasks that need to be done before we're really ready to open to the public again. Luckily, our project manager did come in last week and meet with myself and 2 other trustees, and it seems like they are willing to get things finished up within the next month or so. So that's my biggest update anyhow for the library right now. We're still offering services for picking up books and checking out books, and we're offering copying and notary services right now. And we're still here and doing things for people, but to really open the building, we're still waiting on HRS to finish up a few subcontractor works.
Well, we're getting some people interested in where the library stood and when they was going to get the doors back open. And yep. I guess
we're stuck in the middle between the 2 entities. HRS is saying that our architect firm shouldn't have picked this or that, and so they are reluctant to come and fix something, but it seems like they're willing to begin getting it corrected for us so we can actually get open again. But we're still planning full steam ahead for our summer programs, and anything that we can do safely we're planning on doing, and we're anxious to get open just like everybody else.
Okay. Is any questions from the commissioner? Any questions? Well, we appreciate you coming in tonight, and I think we just had some comments from people who want to know what the status was on opening, and I think you give them the answers, and so I think that's what we was interested in. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
I guess we'll go to charter orders C-1-21. You might just update it. That's
This is
scheduling meetings and stuff.
correct. This moves meetings from 1st and 3rd and 5th Mondays to 2nd and 4th. Being a charter ordinance, it has to be published 2 times, and then it's 60 days, Andy. Then there's a 60-day protest period. So if passed, it would actually take effect. There'd be a first Monday meeting in May, and then the second meeting in May would be a 4th Monday. That's when, because I think if I remember right, it's May 12th is when the ordinance would go into effect. The other thing I think, what was it, Andy, that it does is if there is a meeting that falls on a holiday, it's automatically set for the next succeeding day, not observed as a holiday. So if that happens, the commission doesn't have to specify when the meeting is. It's just automatically.
Is there a motion we approve charter ordinance number C-1-21?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion carried. Next thing on the agenda is a motion to approve ordinance 2094, established on agreement for the fiber optic transmission system in Hiawatha, Kansas. And this is how long is this for, Mike?
This is a 3-year franchise agreement. Since I've been here, I think this would be the third one. Sprint's, they've had their fiber. If I remember correctly, it's all down along the railroad tracks. They don't have any customers. They just travel through Hiawatha, but they still require a franchise agreement to come through our right of way and protect their lines. It's a 3-year. It goes through 2024. It'll come back up. Yeah, March 12th, 2024.
Is there a motion we approve ordinance number 2094?
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2094, establishing an agreement for fiber optic transmission system in Hiawatha, Kansas.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion carried. Next thing is consider award the bid of 2021 fireworks. An amount of $14,500. And it's a display for July the 3rd, 2021. Want to award the bid to Rainbow Fireworks. Has everybody reviewed it? I think the funds took it out 2 different funding.
Yeah, it's their budgeted funds.
Yeah.
And I can make a motion to set the date of the 2021 fireworks display for July 3rd, 2021, and award their bid to Rainbow Fireworks Incorporated in an amount of $14,500.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next thing, executive session for non-elected personnel matters. Purdue KSA 754319BI for 5 minutes.
5.
Good. Is there a motion we go into executive session for 5 minutes?
We need to read them. I make a motion that the city commission recess into executive session in the conference room to discuss matters regarding an issue of potential city personnel. The justification for closing the meeting is to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel. The open meeting will resume at 7:02 or 03? 7:03 in the commission chambers, and to include the city commission attorney and administrator.
Second.
What's been made and seconded. No other comments, we'll vote.
Aye.
Motion carried.
For interrupting your meeting. I have to apologize to everybody. No need, I mean, we all call. Oh, man. It was. I said, no big deal to me. Oh, man. Which are you, Tish? I am. I'm Kendra. You received one of the emails. You're who? Kendra. Oh, hi. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's nice to see you. Yeah, I know. Oh, man. Yeah. new, we're learning as I go. So, and then. I think most of us say. Yeah. It's, are we gonna hear how many tickets have been cited in your report?
It's in there.
Oh, well, they don't give us the.
Oh, yeah, you can have access to all that.
Oh, online?
Or, but no, I don't think of that in there. And we were in one.
Okay, I heard it was two, so see, you
I'm
clarified.
sorry?
I heard it was two, so you
Oh.
clarified a rumor.
No, not that I'm aware of.
So just the one here 2 weeks ago?
Yes,
There wasn't one before that.
correct.
Okay. And now I'm tempted to believe, because that was what I was thinking.
I'm sorry. As far as I'm aware, there has only been one. So.
And then, something like that, like. You're not actively searching it out.
I'm sorry.
You're not actively searching it out. At the police force. You're waiting and seeing if businesses call them to stop because they are upset. Every time I look at it,
That's right. And we do carry masks in our car because we call, or when we're approached, we try to offer you a mask first. And then if you advise us that you have an exemption, we are discussing right now how that maybe those exemptions we need to get more. Until I get some guidance from our city attorney and my officers, do not take any further than that. We simply ask that you wear a mask or maintain 6 feet. Any building that wants to keep you out can. If they do that, and we are called, then that would be a criminal trespass, not a mask issue.
So if you, I've wondered this all along. The way I read the ordinance is that if you can maintain the 6 foot distance, then you could, with this, what does it say? Incidental contact.
That's right.
Then you could be in a place. Unless they have a separate policy. Like Walmart has a separate policy, corporate policy.
They can, correct. Any business can have its own policy. This is either, they can't be less restrictive, but they can be more restrictive.
Like the city, for example, city buildings are more restrictive.
Correct.
They're not honoring any.
Correct.
They had chosen long before the mask order to have mask required. Yeah, and that makes sense. But it's not told to the public, and like the courthouse, there was. But it's been on our building for, since June. But it didn't say that you don't accept. When we see no mask, I assume that it's the city ordinance, and not that you had your own that didn't, I just assumed it was the governor's ordinance, which is what most people had adopted. The governor's ordinance, and she allows for certain exceptions. Right. And we understand that, it's fine, but the thing is, some of us. It's so unclear. Well, no, it's just unclear, you know, and I wish the education, even the ordinance itself, I wish there was an, like, if we're scared, let's educate people on why it's important, I don't know.
For law enforcement, it's really easy. I've been, for 28 years I've been a cop, the laws are all the same. A police officer, I can enforce local, state, and federal. A county can only enforce county, state, and federal. I can, and how that works up and it matriculates up, I can enforce more than my county counterpart. They have jurisdiction here, but they cannot enforce our city ordinance. So we can enforce on us.
That makes sense. No, this is all, I've learned so much about it.
But other than that, they don't, the mask ordinance to us, it's not irrelevant, but when you get, it's already beyond that. It's already.
I'll make a motion to come back in.
Second.
Motion been made and second, come back. Gone.
All right. He made a motion, I seconded. Yeah.
Well, let's kind of quiet down. We're in a meeting here. Yeah, we'll vote. Motion carried, and there's no action taken. Next thing is, John, you've got time to talk now.
I only have one thing. A few meetings ago, Commissioner Middendorf put out the kind of the broad stroke that he had been at a county commission meeting and they were in fact offering or seeking out folks or organizations that needed more hand sanitizer machines. So I took that information to my clerk in my office, and I asked her to look into it. She did. We now have 2 machines because of that. My long story short, that does come with a memorandum of understanding. It's really short, 2 pages. I'm going to put it in the agenda for 2 weeks. And if you folks are wanting to sign that after you read it, then we will open the boxes and start utilizing the machine. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Tish.
Nothing.
Okay. Okay, good. Andy? Good. That got lost there.
I'm sorry, only to let you know, I think, and I apologize because I wanted to have some nuisance violations that we're not able to fix through city court, but those will be in their packet for the next meeting. So you might, if you get a chance to drive by some of these properties after you get copies of the resolution sent to you, but that's all I have tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. Mike?
Yeah, a few things, quick things. One, just I want to give you an update on, you might have seen or heard, the post lanterns on North 6th, north of Miami, and on 7th, north of Miami. They've been out for a couple weeks now, I think. The department tracked down where the problem is, and this week they've got a boring company coming in to put a new conduit under Miami Street and run some new wire. But just in case you've heard or people have asked you about it, want to let you know about that. Bill McCauley lives up at 1011 North 4th Street. He's got a large is it brome, I guess, field behind his house that he open burns every year, but he's asking for permission to work with the fire department and do an open burn on that. If agreeable, that'd take a motion. A motion to allow for the open burn.
Yeah, there's a motion we allow, call it open burn. That looks like it's kind of like wild grass, like.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's, I don't know if it's CRP or not, but.
I'll make a motion.
Motion been made, is a second.
I'll second it.
Motion been made in a second. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Then also along that same topic, I was called out to Bruning Ballpark today. The fences out there are lined with corn husks, or you know, I guess husks from our fields, I'm guessing. But Brad Siebenmorgan with the Parks Department was saying they're doing what they can to get them out, but they're kind of stuck in the bottom of the fence and woven in the fences. So he was wondering if he could take a torch and burn those as well with supervision from the fire department. I told him, well, that's something that's got to go through you all because it's still open burning. But it's, I mean, I was blown away when I went out there. How many?
Well, you're talking about a torch on a propane bottle going out there and
Yeah.
just burning it out.
Yeah, they put them all together. Main thing he wants to do, they're dragging what they can out, but the main thing he wants to get all those that are kind of woven in the fence and down at the bottom of it, just kind of walk around it and get rid of those. But it would require the same motion really to allow the Parks Department to open burn at
Do we have a power
Bruning.
washer?
Hmm?
Do we have a power washer?
Yeah. Push them out that way.
Well, let's get a motion. Is there a motion?
I mean, I guess I make a motion to allow them to do open burn to get the corn husk if that's the easiest or safest way. I'm not opposed either way. I don't know what's easier, so I'll make a motion for the open burn.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried.
Last thing, in a previous meeting, question was brought up about what it'd take to get rock behind the library's alley, PD, and the fire department. For their whole alley, it'd be approximately $725. Looking on the map, our properties take up about 60% of the alley, I would guess, and the library's about 40%. So I between the fire department and PD, we could handle the portion that all it's just how you all
Is that a
want to handle.
bid, or is that a bid that we've got, or is that just going and getting the rock, or?
That's us getting the rock and putting it down.
Done in now. So
The question is, do we?
I guess you can't do half of it. You're gonna have to do it all, or you're just gonna track the other half.
Yeah,
So, I mean, you're gonna have to do it all.
they're gonna blade it and
Yeah, just blade it, smooth it down.
yeah.
Didn't they have a semi get stuck back there last week? I think it was a pretty fun show
Mhm.
for the library people because they couldn't get it out.
No, it sounds like we need to do something, so.
Question is, do we build a library for a portion of it, or do we rock the alley? We levy taxes for it.
Well, you
so
can
that's why I wasn't
ask
sure.
them if they want to.
Pitch in?
Anything, but I think I think they asked us here, what, a month or so ago about that rock,
Yeah,
and I told them we'd look into it. I never committed.
I would say $725 is a pretty insignificant amount. It's getting the whole, I mean, when we have PD and fire department using that, and it's just, they're having a hard enough time right now trying to get that stupid building open. So I would make a motion that we add rock to the alley behind the library at a cost of approximately $725.
The second,
I'll second it.
motion been made and second, we can go ahead and put the rock down to $775 and let the city absorb the total number of dollars.
all right.
Is there any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, thank you. That's all I have unless anyone has questions.
Okay. I'm gonna pass tonight. This meeting's lasted a long time. Becky,
I just wanted to clarify what I said earlier, just because I don't like being vague. From the Kansas Health Institute website, it's the 85.6% of the state population live in a community with a mask mandate order in place. That's not necessarily counties. There are some counties who don't have a mask mandate, but for example, Grant County is perfect. There are cities that do have, and it's got a really neat graphic that shows how it's spread across the state, and it gets updated from. And it anyway, if anybody's interested, I could gladly send a link. But I just don't like being vague, so I just wanted to clarify what I said earlier. And good luck to the Hiawatha girls and boys who are in sub-state tonight and tomorrow. Girls are playing right now, actually against Jeff West.
that it? Dave,
I don't have anything tonight, Bill. Thank you.
Brian,
I've got nothing.
Evans,
I have nothing tonight.
is there a motion? We adjourn.
I'll move.
Second,
I'll second.
motion been made and second, we adjourn. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, we lost our crowd, but thanks for everybody coming out tonight.
Need a new pad.
Battery.